Are you muted?
Yay! This is persistence personified. Happy Friday! Happy Yay. Friday.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello. Please let us know you can see us and you can hear us, because Facebook's restrictions are getting in our way today. And we, as you can see, we hopped over to BeLive. Thank you, BeLive, for being our backup as always. So let us know where you're watching us from. And let us know if you are dressing up for Halloween, because clearly
I am.
We have somebody who dressed up today. And if you can guess the character, if you can guess what Marci's costume is, we have a prize for you.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what the prize is, but we have a prize for you. If you can guess who Marci James is for Halloween.
Who am I today? I've got this ponytail. Got a ponytail going on in the back. You guys should recognize me.
Come on. We can. So if you guess, drop it in the comments on who Marci James is for Halloween. There's a prize in it for you. Okay, so as always, also let us know where you are from, where you're watching from, if you are dressing up as well. Oh goodness, it is crazy. It's a crazy season. It is a Friday. It is the final Friday in October, and it is the Friday before the second full moon in October, while Mercury is in retrograde in 4 sleeps before the election.
There's a lot going on right now. A lot.
Can we just say, wow? The fact that we are all, our eyes are open and we are functioning and having a conversation, I think this is a huge win.
Yeah.
This is a huge win. Sarah, what do you have for us today? I'm going to wait a minute to do my WomanUP updates, if you don't mind.
Awesome. No problem. So 4 sleeps till the election. We are all in on election day here at CAR because we have a proposition on the ballot. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But what I've been seeing is a record turnout, not only in California, but 85 million Americans have casted their ballot early. And so that also includes 9.1 million in California. And 9 million in Texas. It's going to be a record election year. And so talk about our theme for this year, take action. I see so many of you taking action, and I did want to give you a heads up on a few ballot propositions. So 19 is CAR sponsored. It helps seniors 55 and older, anyone with a disability, to be able to transfer your property tax bases anywhere in the state of California. So we urge you to vote and vote yes on Prop 19. And then we'll drop some links down in the comments on more information about Prop 19. We also have taken a formal position on a couple of other propositions. Prop 15 is split roll, and we are voting, or we're urging you to vote no on Prop 15, and also Prop 21 is rent control, and that one also vote no. And one last huge announcement. I'm happy to say that Melanie McShane, who's in the comments, hopefully in the chat, watching us today, has joined the team here at WomanUP, and she at CAR. She's our industry relations manager, and we're so proud that she came from this community, a former realtor now, and we're very happy to have Melanie on board. And I hope you all will join me in giving her a warm WomanUP welcome. And that's pretty much it from me.
Yay, that's exciting.
Link in the notes.
Yay, yay, yay. Yes. We had the pleasure of a fun team chat yesterday, and I am super excited to see and experience Melanie on the team. She brings a rich set of skills that we really need. So thank you. Okay, so I've got a couple of quick updates before economic update. Okay, so for those of you who were at the book club this week, holy smokes, that conversation was fire. Fire. We did The Likeability Trap by Alicia Menendez. And seriously, we have had so many women reach out and say, I'm so bummed I missed it, that we're going to do a part 2. And Leslie is one of those women. She was so bummed to have missed it. So stay tuned. We're going to do a part 2 of The Likeability Trap. And November's book is How Women Rise, which after we went through The Likeability Trap, we realized it's the perfect follow-up to The Likeability Trap. So Likeability Trap we'll do at the beginning of this month, or beginning of November. And then towards the end of November, we'll do our chat around How Women Rise. Also, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more at the end as well, but the Q4 Wisdom Series kicks off next Wednesday. So pull out your calendars and put this down. Every Wednesday between November 4th and December 16th, we are having an expert, an amazing woman inside our community, talk and share about a topic she is passionate about. A lot of the topics you're going to see are from the breakout sessions, the coffee and conversations, and lunch and learns from WomanUP 2020. And next week's, the 4th of November, is Marci. She is coming in to lead a conversation on how to build and nurture a thriving community. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end, but make sure you mark your calendars. Wednesdays, 11/4 through 12/16, 11 a.m. We are bringing it in Q4, ladies. Okay, so there's my spiel. Leslie, we're so thankful you're back.
Yes.
We missed you.
So great to see everybody.
So great to see you.
We missed you. What do you have for us today, Leslie?
Well, I have some big news on the macro front, and then I have actually much better news on the housing market front. So with a couple of the headlines, the big news on Thursday was the release of the third quarter GDP number. It was a quarterly increase of 7.4%, annualized seasonally adjusted. It was 33.1%. And that follows the minus 31.4% in the second quarter. So essentially, you had an economy on lockdown, partially reopened, fueled by support from the federal governments and state governments to keep people able to spend and pay their bills and stay in their homes and in their apartments and all of that. So it depends on how you want to spin it. It's definitely a huge step in the right direction, but you don't want to overstate where we are in the cycle, right? And there's actually signs that the speed and momentum of this recovery is slowing. Industrial production coming down, the labor market, we've still got 10.7 million jobs that have disappeared from when we entered. So there's still a lot going on. And then the other thing we saw this week, and I always say, the stock market is not the economy, but the stock market took a bit of a tumble, responding to a big tech company in Europe, SAP, that recorded losses, or were far below expectations. So just a lot, good news, bad news. We're not out of the woods yet. The housing market, on the other hand, continues to outperform pretty much all expectations. It's certainly my expectations of a couple of months ago, and we're seeing the same thing nationally. So we had, as you know, in September, over a 20% increase year over year in sales. In fact, we have just had to revise our forecast our projection for this year. We're actually going to be up a little bit in California in terms of sales. Median home price appreciation this year, 11.6%. We're looking at a further 3.3% increase in sales next year and a 4.4% increase in prices. And again, there's a lot of assumptions underlying this kind of baseline scenario, right? In terms of, there's a vaccine by the first part of next year, people take it. We don't have a spike. We don't have another lockdown. We don't have foreclosures exceeding about 8% of the total sales next year, and so on. So I don't think it's too optimistic, but given all the uncertainty, we're going to have to just see how it plays out. But anyway, I just want to kind of say, wow, the housing market, really a V-shaped recovery and leading other sectors. So that's all I've got for today. So I'm going to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, I see that Barb Betts is in here saying, if you would have told me on 3/19 when Newsom shut down California that we would have our best year ever, I would have laughed at you. I mean,
that's right, Barbara, way to go.
Like I think there is so much that we can be thankful for. We can focus on and we raise the vibration around how we leave 2020, right? How we kiss it goodnight, let it be with a smile on our face. And if we just keep focusing on that and focusing on the good things as we do our part to be the change we seek, right? It doesn't mean chill out. So we have an amazing guest. And for those of you who are just joining us, we have a prize for the person who can guess who Marci James is for Halloween. Who do you think Marci James is dressed up as for Halloween? Drop it in the comments, and person who guesses gets a prize. Okay. So as you're doing that, I'm going to read to you a bit about Marci. Now, those of you who know Marci know she's the director of industry outreach at Realtor.com. That's her day job. However, she is so many other things. And so one of the things that I love to look at is what people say about themselves, either in their Twitter bio or on LinkedIn. So I visited LinkedIn for Marci, and here's what she says: adventure seeker, lifelong learner, problem solver, challenge taker, community builder. I love these terms. My 20 years of work in real estate industry have been driven by my desire to empower realtors with the tools, information, skills, and confidence they need to flourish and succeed. Hear. I love that. That is so fantastic. So thank you for joining us, Marci. And thank you for, participating in our shenanigans, for being patient during our persistence. How are you? What have you been doing in 2020? What are you up to?
I'm great. And thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with the three of you. So thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's listening. This is such a fabulous community. Am I
the only one that doesn't hear?
So blessed to be a part of it. So you guys can hear me, correct?
Oh yeah,
I can.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Oh, I can't
awesome.
hear Marci.
Oh, poor Sarah can't hear me. Oh no. Well, anyway, what have I been doing in 2020? Well, it's been a crazy year for sure. It feels like it's been almost like 5 years, and we're in the 10th month. I'm anxious for this year to move on. I love new beginnings. I feel like 2021 is going to be a fresh new beginning for us. And, there's so many things that have come out of this year that have been really wonderful. One, of course, is the fact that the industry has performed so incredibly well, which has been a blessing for all of us. I feel like I've become a little bit more grounded than I was with all of the traveling I was doing. I've been home more. I've really, it's one of the interesting things I find is that you find your comfort zone in whatever your routine is. So whether your routine is travel constantly or staying at home, the routine becomes your comfort. And so when I traveled about 70% of the time, that travel routine, and I had a routine in every aspect, from where I sat on the plane to how I walked through the airports without touching anything in the airports ever, or, all of these little, how I would unpack in a hotel room, all these little into your new comfort zone, which is being back at home all the time and having that routine. So I feel like it's given us all a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of growth in learning how to find your new routines and your new comfort zones. And it'll be interesting to see how we all change back when COVID is over.
Yeah, or what the new experience looks like, right? I mean, I don't think that we will ever go back to exactly what it used to be like. I mean, will we ever look at a doorknob the
Why
same?
would we? There's
Right?
so many benefits.
No. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever travel quite as much, corporately anyway, business travel. I think our companies have discovered that a lot can be done through online meetings, and I'm sure there will be lots of travel still, but I think some of it may be unnecessary. And, so it's been interesting. We've learned a lot this year.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
And I
Welcome
can hear
back,
you.
Sarah.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna throw my everything away and just not have any devices this weekend. Anyway, Marci, I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
I want to roll right into, because I missed most of the answer, but of
That's
your
okay.
how you're doing. But I do want to roll into the interview and ask you what we always ask in the beginning, which is, what was your beginning leadership role? What was your first? And I think a very important piece to that is, did you ask for it, or was it, were you recruited?
I think I've asked for most of my leadership. Well,
for
I'm maybe
you.
recruiting for a couple of them. I mean, I wrote down, I went way back because I started thinking, where did my leadership begin? And I would say it began in high school. In high school, I was the editor for our school newspaper, and I was the president of the writing club, which was horseback riding. So I was the president of that club. And then in college, I did some leadership. I was I was the college government rep for my dormitory. I was active in leadership in my sorority and was the historian. And then my most challenging leadership role of all time after college was being a mom to 3 little ones. That's definitely the most challenging leadership role I have ever had.
No
I'm
kidding.
still dealing with
Wow.
that leadership role. For sure.
Yeah, still, and even now my kids are all grown, but you're still leading them in many, many ways and setting the example for them. And it doesn't ever end, ever. So, and then,
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to comment on.
Let me, ladies. No, you.
No, you.
I'm being way too polite. I need to toughen it up and be a little bit,
Well,
yeah, put on your character.
Yeah. By the way, you could still guess. I didn't see the right guess in the chat.
Okay.
I just wanted to highlight the fact that you asked for them. Like, you went out and you got them. And I think that's an important piece to highlight, because not all of us do.
Yeah, I asked for all. I mean, the only one I didn't necessarily ask for my mom leadership role. That was pretty much, but everything else I have asked for. And even in my career, I would say, in the earlier years, I was not in a leadership role, but as I progressed and I moved into leadership roles, and for the most part, I asked for those too, in subtle ways. I didn't necessarily go in and say, "Hey, I want to manage a team," or "I want to do this," but you ask for them in subtle ways, and you let the people know, your leaders know that you want to lead and that you want to continue to grow in your career and build your career. And hopefully, if you're working for a true leader, a good leader, that is their goal and their aim as well, is to develop you. So. It's a ladder that we all, as we climb, we have to constantly be pulling people up behind us.
So Marci, I have a couple questions, but I first of all want to say that before I asked you what you were, so I cannot compete, I was going to say Ninja Turtle. So any of our listeners who were thinking it was Ninja Turtle, that's not the correct answer. So go back and think.
No, not a Ninja Turtle.
I had two
vest on.
questions, and one is, you talked about the ladder. When you were in school, did you think about that you were going to have a full-time career? That's one question I'm just wondering, because I think that might have been my missed chip when I was younger, is I didn't ever really kind of work to that because it was the 60s, right? But
Yeah.
the other question
I,
is, so you did a lot there in the beginning, and then here you are. So how did you go from point A to point B?
well, my college years were just a lot. I loved college. I had a lot of fun, but I had no idea where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be when I was in college. I mean, if I had just followed my heart, I would probably be an anthropologist right now, or digging up the ruins over in Egypt. Archaeology, was like my passion. And but my mom's like, oh no, you can't, like, you can't have a family and do that. And it was like, this was early 80s. So I was, it's like, oh, I can't do that. I shouldn't. That's not, I listened to my mom, and now I wish I had not listened. I should have just like gone for it. And but I went the more traditional route, and I decided I was going to be a science teacher. So I started taking a lot of science, and then I decided I hated teaching, and it's not what I wanted to do. I changed my major like 3 times. I ended up with an earth science major because I had so much science in my, background. And I'm very much like, I do love science and learning, earth science was great. I loved all my classes. I mean, I took, speleology. I learned how to map caves and go into caves, and I took
Oh my God.
oceanography, and I took all these really, really fun classes that really have applied zero in my life, other than, I love the things that I learned in those classes. So I had a lot of fun, but I've never used my career. I mean, I'm glad I have it, because a lot of the roles that I've had, they want you to have a college degree, but my degree
Right.
is not in marketing, and I've never really leveraged that. So I had no idea when I was in college what I wanted to become. So.
Well, I think that you're not alone in that. I'm pretty sure that and this next generation and the generation coming behind them are all even questioning the whole process. Right. And so I think that that college is going through a reckoning, and what that looks like and what it will look like in the future. Even how they're doing college, right? I mean, all these schools have figured out how to do it virtually as well. So will there be a bigger part of that in the future of college and higher education? And will that lessen the cost? And will that be an option? And I love how those conversations are happening. I think it's super important. And as we move forward.
It's so expensive now. You can't just do it as a one-off. But actually, what I was kind of getting at is, when I grew up, women stayed home and raised kids, and the men were, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to have a career, I'm going to do that. And so I was just wondering if you always thought, I'm going to have a big career and I'm going to do that in addition, or did it just kind of happen to you?
It just kind of, I would say it kind of happened. I always knew I wanted to work and I wanted a career. I have a little bit of drive in me. I've always wanted those things. I would say I would never change the 10 years I spent at home with my kids. And my husband was working at FedEx, and he was in management, and they moved us all over the country during those years. And it would have been really difficult for me to work anyway. We were moving almost every single year. We would be living in a different state. But when we finally did settle, and I was able to start working in my early 30s, and my kids I started working when my youngest was in kindergarten, and my oldest was like 10, and was like one of the happiest days of my life. I went to work, and I was just like, I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. I was just so happy to be doing something other than, taking care of the little ones. Although that was very fulfilling. I'm not taking that away from anybody. It just wasn't fulfilling enough for me. I wanted more. I wanted to contribute in other ways. So.
I think this is a conversation, again, in addition to the college conversation, on what is fulfilling, and that women, I mean, I know that you're backing up what you're saying by saying, I don't negate that isn't for some people. I think that with COVID-19, we are seeing more women being more accepting of all the choices for each other.
Right.
And I, more than ever, I feel like it was very divisive amongst women for so long from all of the choices. All of the choices. If you weren't choosing my path, you weren't doing it right, whether it was how you feed your children or if you decide to work. But I feel like because we've all been thrown into this pot together with our families, that people are like, oh yeah, well, I really do like this. Maybe they were career minded and now they realize I really want to be here, and vice versa. So I think that it's a beautiful conversation to be experiencing from the outside looking in, and that it's triggering. And so I appreciate you sharing that. What
can I just jump in real quick before you ask the next question? Because when you said that, Marci, I was thinking about the first day I went back after maternity leave, which was, I think I took a long stretch. I took 4 months, and it was like the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
Even though I loved my job, I loved my boss, but it was, and then my I just still remember my OBGYN said, well, don't worry, it's going to be okay, because at one point you're going to think of work as a vacation. And that really did come around, but it was just I was in a different place, and it just triggered that for me. I thought I would share, because
I just can't imagine having 4 months off. I mean, we got 8 weeks if we were lucky. 6 weeks was more. I mean, it's so much more humane today. I'm so happy for the younger generation, you know.
Yeah. No, I had the best of both worlds, honestly, because I did get to stay at home with them, and when they were little, which was such a joy. But then when I was ready, when the time came that I was able, I was more than ready and just really happy to get out and get a job and start working. So,
well, I think we all have, again, there's so many layers to being a woman.
Right.
And not every woman puts the same priority on every level. And I remember the first time I had a conversation with Beate, who a lot of you have met through her conversations in our community about mergers and acquisitions. But the first time I met her was right after she launched the Woman Code. And it was all about, she kind of mapped out all the different areas, the different layers of being a woman, and was trying to demystify the everything all at once concept, right? And in her kind of analytical way, right? And it was really interesting to me to read through those stories, because similar to the three of you who are all moms and career women, everyone's story is different. Everyone's thoughts and feelings about going back to work or not going back to work.
Well, and everybody doesn't get that option. You know, Sarah might have stayed home a lot longer, right, Sarah?
Yeah, maybe I probably would have been
able to. Yeah.
If I had like the lottery, I came back because I needed money. I needed to pay bills.
And a lot of women are in that position, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. It's always important to remember that there's a lot of privilege in these squares, for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, I never thought I would be the breadwinner for my family. And if I had kind of known that, I think I would have been more focused, and it's just, as you said, as women, we have the amazing gift of so many options and paths that we can take, but sometimes it's hard too, it's somebody tell me what to do.
Well, it is hard.
It's lonely really hard. At the top. It is lonely at the top, and especially for like a single parent. I'll speak to that. I never had now I do, but for a long time I didn't have somebody to just check me. Like, you need to go in your room and just take a moment and stop being a crazy, what. And you do need that. If it's your friend or if it's, this community, you need a check sometimes.
Yeah. We all need that person in our life that will call us out and is not afraid to call us out, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, eventually it becomes your children, right, Sarah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, it's my daughter. It's definitely my daughter.
I love it. I love that you all have strong daughters who, no matter what age, they speak right back into you.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the circle, right? And I think that there's so much beauty in that. And being a leader and having to, as you were talking about earlier, Marci, not only as your children grow, you kind of let them go into their phase, but you're still their mom. You're still whether you're helping lead them or not, you're leading by example, even if you're not in their lives every day.
Right.
And one of the things that were the conversations that we're really excited about inside our community is looking at the lessons we learned and digging deeper into them. Did we lose her, Marci?
I don't see her. Oh,
Momentarily.
she's coming right back.
But we have Sarah back and we can hear her. So that's good.
Yes, we can hear her. Let's see. Do I see her in the staging? Nope. Oh, Mercury in retrograde. How we adore thee. I will say, so everybody knows, when she comes back. Oh, there she is. When she comes back, we did have somebody who guessed it earlier. We just didn't see it fly by in the stream, and then we've had a couple of people guess the same answer. But Nikki actually guessed it first. Do you want to share who you are, Marci?
Yes, I am Sarah Connor from The Terminator.
Yay.
So Linda Hamilton's role. So.
Yeah. So all of you who are guessing that, yes. I do believe, and y'all can check me because I'm sure you will. I believe that Nikki was the first one to guess it. So,
Nikki.
And people are saying, is this part of her costume?
No
It is.
surprise. No surprise. She's always on it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So what I was saying when you got bounced was that one of the things we're really passionate about inside this community is sharing the lessons we've learned, the leadership lessons we've learned in our own slice of the galaxy, so that we can all learn those lessons. We can all learn from them and share them. So we'd all love to hear, like, what have been your biggest leadership lessons this year? And maybe even deeper into that is, how did you learn it? Right?
Yeah, this is like, as you guys know, this was a really tough year. And we had a major reorg at work and we had to lay people off. And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned, because, as a leader, you have to be the one to break that bad news sometimes. And it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my career. And then it's not just dealing with the people that you have to lay off, but dealing with and helping the people that are still there, that are traumatized and scared and frightened and feeling insecurity in their own roles and in their own, world. And at the same time, dealing with your own fears and insecurities. And one of the things that I realized that like during the first few weeks, I think I crawled inside a little bit too much and I didn't reach out. I thought that a few people that some of the people that I thought were doing fine were struggling more than I realized. And I feel like I overlooked it because I kind of, in my own, world, withdrew in a little bit more than I should have. And I should have looked out more and paid more attention to the signs and more attention to the people that I thought were doing okay, that were really struggling more than I realized. So I think that's my biggest management or leadership, I should say leadership lesson, is that when times get tough, you can't over communicate. You can't you just have to like over communicate, pay more attention, just nurture, and make sure that everybody is doing okay.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's a common thread we've been hearing. And I want to, kind of use Deb's term of the red thread throughout, because a lot of times we forget, like we're so focused on, what we're doing that day, that we forget to check in. And we've seen that lesson shared throughout this pandemic is making sure we check in and check up. I think that's Tanya Rue Narvaez from Realogy said that as well. I think it's a great lesson because we can get caught up in our day to day.
Yeah, for sure. And just, just dealing with the pain. And then, yeah, it was, there's been some tough times, but I've learned from everything that has happened. And I don't think any of us can have regrets with, something good. Anytime a door closes, another one opens, or anytime you have an experience that's difficult, you learn from it and you leverage that in the next time or in other experiences that you have. So it's just, life is a constant journey of learning from every experience and every relationship. As I was prepping for this, I was thinking too about some of the most difficult relationships that I've had in my life and how much, and they're all in work. Their work, I'm regarding, career, work-wise. There's always, everywhere you go, it seems like there's somebody that you just don't click with.
Right.
And trying to find, or there's somebody new that comes on. And one of the things I know too is like when someone new comes into the workplace, sometimes they have this, like they put on this bravado or a little bit of an attitude because they're feeling insecure. And as time goes on and you get to know them better, they let go of that. And so sometimes you can form these really amazing relationships with people that you thought initially you were not going to work well with. Do you guys?
I'm hearing an echo. Does somebody? Does anybody have a phone that's listening to this? It's very strange.
Yeah, we're having some major echoes now.
Ooh, all of a sudden. Let's just work through the Halloween angle as we figure this out.
Okay.
We still hear it?
Yeah. I do.
It's so weird that it just came out of nowhere.
It did.
I'm going to try muting each of us. So keep talking, Marci.
What's that?
It's not me.
It's not me.
Hello? It's not Leslie. Hello?
We hear you, Sarah. Oh, it's gone.
It's actually Sarah. It's on Sarah's side. Of course,
Sarah. Sarah, this is terrible.
Poor Sarah. Everything.
I do not want. I'm going to see you in the chat. Mwah.
Oh, what a bummer! But yeah, that was
She's the best. Well, she does the best chat. So, I think the other question that we wanted to ask was really about WomanUP this year, Marci, and what you enjoyed and what you thought about the experience and what you kind of took away from it.
Well, for one thing, I want to say congratulations because that was a fabulous event. You guys, I'm in awe. It was just an incredible, incredible event. And I was super, super busy with work. So we didn't get to go to as many of the sessions as I had wanted to, but there was two of them, of course, that really stand out to me. And one of them was how to pivot your brand. And a little bit, and I was in that session. I helped, I was one of the panelists in that, and it was just a really enjoyable session. And I felt like I learned in that as much as I gave. And I always love that experience. And then the other one was, and I'm trying to remember the name, how to, what was it? How to
the negotiating one. I think that's what you were saying.
How to negotiate your value.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought that was such a good topic. I want to hear more on that. I want to hear more. I want to, I would love it if we could do some sessions, like even bring Kat back in, so Kat Katanis, who is the CPO at Realtor.com, spoke on that panel. And I would love to bring her back in and learn more about like, how do you interview techniques and how do you prove your value in an interview and how to approach your boss about a raise or just little things like that. I think all of those are great for, I mean, I know we have a lot of brokers and agents who that may not apply to, but we also have a huge amount of people in tech and other real estate related areas that could really use that.
Yeah, that are on the corporate side for sure. I mean, that's,
right.
You know, one side is the ownership, right? People who want to become owners. But once you're an owner, then you've got a lot of people to negotiate with on their, you know, their salaries, their career plans, their moves, all of those things. So yeah, I know that we're having at the end of November, Alex is going to come in and talk about her part in the negotiation. So let's talk about what that looks like for continuing that conversation. I'm not sure if she's in the chat or not, but yeah, because that was a popular session as well. That's really good. You know, over and over and over again inside the community, we hear that two of the big words that come from when we ask, what do you need, are confidence and better negotiation skills.
Absolutely.
Over and over and over and over. So we can never have too many conversations about those topics ever. We can never have too many voices sharing their opinions and their thoughts, because we all, even if we feel like we're excellent negotiators, there's always something to be learned, right? There's always something to be learned.
Always.
And it's hard to do. You know, it's hard to do, and it depends on who's on the other side, right?
The worst part is, I feel like when it comes to sales, I sold for years when I was with OBO, or when it comes to other things, I can be a great negotiator. If I go into a car dealership or if I'm dealing, but when it comes to myself, I fall flat. I'm not good at negotiating for myself.
Right.
Well, and that's it. I think, and that's where the confidence meets negotiation, right? Where being our own best advocate, in particular as women, we've learned it time and time and time again. For those of you who battle this, there's a great book called Why Women Don't Ask. And the gal who wrote it, she co-authored it, but she did a lot of the research, and it's the facts and the stats in this space are mind-boggling. It's because it starts with the first negotiation we have. And I think that it's the younger generations, we speak to children now in different language than we spoke to them 30 years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I don't think Izzy will have this problem.
No.
I think Izzy will know exactly what she wants and how to get what she wants.
But, you know, on the confidence thing, you know, one of the things that John is always telling me is see yourself the way others see you. And I think every woman in this community should probably take that to heart, you know, and realize that you're always focusing on the less than part, and what everyone is seeing is, oh my goodness, look at that person.
Yeah, I took a really an awesome class, a Dale Carnegie class. And so one of the first, when I think it was actually one of the last days in the class, and we would do these little breakouts all the time. I sat at this table with like 5 other people, and we had to jot down a little note to every other person at the table, telling them what we love about them, or what a great quality, I should say, that they have. And that was like because you didn't really get to know them very well, but it was just a quality that stood out to each one of them. And they were all different and all unique, but it was so interesting to see those and to see what other people may see in you that you're not seeing in yourself.
Yep.
That's so good. I remember one of my mentors said to me, and I started it the second he told it to me. He said, keep a praise folder, keep the notes, keep the love notes. Yeah. Like it in particular, like I tend to be more of a sentimental collector anyways. So I keep cards and stuff like that. But it was, I'm saying he, so yes, it was man. But he actually pulled his file out. I mean, it was ginormous, right? But he was like, when I am having those moments, he's like, yes, I do. I pull this file out, and it's so true. And that's why it's important to keep them, but it's also important to write them.
I love that, Deborah.
Yeah.
Leslie, mine has so many Leslie notes in it.
Aw.
I keep every single one of them, and they usually sit out on my desk for a couple weeks before they go in there, because I love to, I mean, they're treasures. And so it's, if you're feeling frustrated, this is I'm gonna get a little preachy. If you're feeling frustrated right now, no matter why you're frustrated, like, take some time this weekend and write some love notes. Write some love notes. Pick 5 people and write love notes to the lionesses and ladies in your world. And it like raise the vibration, because it is such a beautiful way to get everyone focused on something good. You writing it, them reading it. Oh,
Such a great idea.
Yes. Okay. Well, we always get a little sad when we get towards the end, and we're towards the end. So we'd love to hear, do you have any final words of wisdom for those of us who are listening right now?
Well, if it's regarding leadership, then I would say that in my belief is that true leaders are servants to their communities. That it's not about it's about serving other people, and they're not there for the glory. They're not there for the attention that they might be getting. They're there to help you, to help other people that surround them, and to help other people succeed. And there are so many incredible leaders in our industry. I feel like we're just so blessed with amazing women, specifically women. I actually think there's more women leaders in this industry than there are men. There may be men in higher positions, but there's definitely more women leaders than there are men. So,
amen.
Amen.
We would agree, which is why we are all working towards shifting the definition of what leader is and influencer is. Yeah. And just like the likability trap, right? One of the things that Alicia talks about in her book is changing not only the importance of likability, but actually what that is. Because women battle being likable for, what they look like, what color their hair is, what kind of clothes they're wearing, what look they have on their face. Are they smiling enough? Yeah. Are they not? Are they too braggartish? Like, there's always they're too something, too low or too high. Mm-hmm. And same with inside leadership. There's these very masculine energy focused definitions. And I love that we're bringing it all together because it's not only women who have more feminine energy. There's lots of people who lead that way. And I know that Leslie is a fan of this book. I know Sarah is a fan of this book, but The Humans Are Underrated really does talk about that a lot, and about how a lot of our skills that have been considered or called soft over the years are what are going to make such a difference in what we build, what we have the opportunity to build, ladies, on the other side of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. It is already inside us. It's just about embracing those attributes that we've been told are not worthy of being
and
leaders.
They're the most important ones.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So I do have a rapid fire question, sort of rapid fire, from Sarah that she was going to ask you before, of course. Okay. What she says, I want to ask Marci, what is your favorite Netflix binge?
Oh, well, the Queen's Gambit is the one that oh my gosh, I just binged that in 2 straight nights. My husband and I couldn't stop. It was so good. So I highly recommend that. But my favorite escape show is by far Outlander. And you can watch the first 3 seasons. I think it's 3, maybe 4 on Netflix. So if you haven't watched Outlander, go explore that. It's a fabulous escape. Don't watch it with your kids.
No, don't watch it with your kids.
Nope.
Or your parents. Either side.
I'm watching it again with John, and he's always like, oh my God, here's another one of those, elongated, romantic, mushy scenes. And I'm like, okay, go away. I'm enjoying it.
You're like, babe, just embrace it. Like, let it flow.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is a little bit naughty.
Those are two great recommendations. I double down on both of those.
Yes, same here. And then if you are feeling stressed, because both of them do have a level of stress in them,
They
like
do,
the addiction in one, and the sex and violence in the other. Schitt's Creek.
At your point,
Schitt's Creek is so good, and they just launched their brand new and final season, and it is so good.
I didn't hear you. Which show, Deborah?
Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
There is nothing like a chaser of David and Moira to lift your spirits when you're feeling down.
Well, for those of you that are listening, we talked about Schitt's Creek just before we went on the air.
Right.
And Leslie and I were both laughing because neither of us like it. And we both feel like there's something wrong with us. Like,
I know.
why don't we like that show? Is there something wrong with me that I can't
They're all my favorite actors from Best in Show. I love
you have to push through. Don't don't stop at the first couple. You gotta get past it, because on the other side of it, I felt the same way when I first started watching it. I was like, oh gosh, this feels like, I don't know, it feels a little uncomfortable with how they were talking about the town and all the stuff. But man, once you get on the other side of that and you start rolling, I have laughed so hard, and it like needed belly laughs.
Okay.
And yes. So please.
I will give it another shot.
Soldier on.
Yeah, Marci and I will try to get into Schitt's Creek.
Yes. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We so appreciate it. Make sure, if you have not joined us for a book club and you want to, remember, we're doing part 2. We're going to do a second round of the likability trap.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Leslie. Thank you. So for those of you who attended the book club but maybe didn't read it, maybe you were one of those gals who were like, I'm here, but I didn't read it. Like, you still have time to read it and come again. And then the book for November is, I'm going to get the title right. How is it? How Women Rise? I think that's the name of it. Hold on. I'm almost there. Yes, How Women Rise. Of course, we'll get it all posted on the group, but those are the book club conversations that we're going to have in November, as well as next Wednesday, the 4th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Marci is leading a conversation for us in our wisdom series. Okay, so the wisdom series, as we've shared, is Wednesdays starting next week through the middle of December, where we are bringing in wise women from our community who are going to pour their wave-making wisdom over you on Wednesdays. All those W's. You know I love all that. All those W's. So next week is how to build and nurture a thriving community. I did drop the link in to the comments. I'll do it again right now. You can RSVP, register for the session next week. It's going to be on Zoom. It will not be a Facebook Live. However, we are recording it. So you can come and be part of the live conversation, or you can watch the replay. Either one is fine. But join Marci. She's really excited. Do you want to kind of give a little sneak peek as to what you're going to talk about?
Sure. We're going to talk about how to build both online and offline communities. So my specialty is really more online. And then I have Tiffany McQuaid coming on with me, who is the queen of building offline communities. And we're going to get together and we're going to share tips on both. And really, optimally, when you build, is to bring both communities together, bring your online community offline and your offline community online. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that as well.
Yeah, well, and both of you, with the things that you've done with Realtor.com and previous positions you've had, how you really truly engage your online community is such a work of art, Marci, that I know you're so welcome. I know that there's so many inside our community that will gather so much from that. And then how Tiffany really does weave in her in-person events. I know that a few months ago, she was sharing with us how she turned I think it was her parking lot into a drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
And I thought this is just this, it's such a beautiful way. So come together, come bring your ideas on how you have created a thriving community as well, because there will be time for conversation. There'll be Q&A for you to ask both Marci and Tiffany questions. Again, that's next week, Wednesday, 11/4 at 11 a.m. Pacific time. The link is in the comments. We look forward to seeing you there. And of course, we'll see you back here next Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time for the weekly show. Take care, everyone. Happy Halloween. Happy Blue
Bye,
Moon.
everybody.
Have
Thanks
a
so
great
much.
weekend. Thanks for
Bye.
having
Marci.
me, ladies.
Thanks,
It's
Deborah.
been fun.
Thank you. Yes, bye.
Bye.